So Jordan Addison told the Steelers, come get me. Of course, he does want to play with Kenny Pickett. Who wouldn't want to play with Kenny Pickett? The man's the GOAT. But at the end of the day, have you watched those DBs run the 40? I mean, they were fast this year. They were really fast, and just a ton of talent all across the board. And there's necessities that you need for building a football team. You can't draft wide receiver in the first or second round, like top 2 rounds every single year. You're going to need to build a D-line, O-line. Cornerbacks are going to need to be refreshed. Of course, that's a position where you can't have a lot of 4 or 5 guys nowadays with the wide receiver talent coming out. And so you can't really always pick flashy guys like Jordan Addison. And it's a bummer because I love Jordan Addison. I think that he's going to be a mix of Calvin Ridley and Stephon Diggs, 2 dudes who he said he modeled his game after. I feel like his route running is the best in the draft. But as great as that all is, you just can't do it. Your middle linebacker spot hasn't really brought you any turnovers whatsoever. I mean, they're really, quite frankly, irrelevant most of the time on the field. So you could get a guy like Trenton Simpson. You could get a lot of good guys. You could get Bryan Bresee, who might be there at 17 when it comes to your D-line, or maybe another prospect you're looking at D-line if you're the Steelers. You could go O-line, Peter Skoronski. You could go Joey Porter, Christian Gonzalez. You could go even a guy with, not much recognition before the draft, but Deonte Banks. He just ran a 4.35. You could do so much. So just to say, all right, wide receiver. A lot of teams could pick a great wide receiver. Like Jackson Smith is also a great wide receiver. There's tons of great wide receivers you can pick. But at the end of the day, you actually have to build a respectable roster. Also, speaking on the roster, since free agency is in 10 days, it's going to be really interesting to see how this roster shakes up because, of course, we all know how much changes in the course of one day. Nonetheless, 1 week in free agency, I think Myles Jack could get cut. I think there's a very serious possibility he could get cut. And then they bring in a guy like Tremaine Edmonds or Azeez Al-Shaair, just somebody better. And then they bring in another young guy via the draft and maybe re-sign Robert Spillane for a linebacker 3 and call it solid. Or, again, just bring in a ton of young guys and see how it goes. And then your free agency dude, because you always need a veteran. And then with other positions, you bring back Cam Sutton, you draft a corner. You already got Levi Wallace, who has proven to be solid. I really don't see many weaknesses with that secondary if you can get a good number 1 corner in the draft, which if there was a year to get a good number 1 corner in the draft, this the year. Now, when it comes to that left side of the line, I just think Taylor Lewan is a Pittsburgh Steeler at this point. I genuinely believe that he is going straight to Pittsburgh. So we'll also see how that works out. But it's going to be interesting, right? Because we speculate and regulate a lot. Inside joke, if you get it, you get it. But we like to talk about, this would be a perfect fit. Then when free agency happens, it's like, oh, okay, we never even knew about that player, but apparently he's really good and underrated and all that. So I'm just excited to see what happens. Let me know what y'all think about this Steelers roster and give me your free agency predictions in the comment section down below. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video, and that is it for me on this one. Peace.